Are you thinking of learning to fly but worried about the total cost? Have you started flight training and now you're watching your savings or loan disappear faster than you thought? Do you plan to continue your training into instrument ratings and commercial flying? In this video, I'm going to talk about flying lesson costs and how to manage your finances so that you fly more often. Ben Lovegrove created a course full of tips like this. Check the link below this video to watch a preview of the course and to enroll. Learning to fly and obtaining a private pilot's license isn't cheap, but you can avoid unnecessary expenses with a little forward planning. Flying lesson costs will vary from place to place, but as we shall see in the long run, the cheaper hourly rate may not be your best option. In this video, I discuss the cost of obtaining a fixed-wing pilot's license for flying light aircraft in the UK. But the same principles apply wherever you learn to fly. In the UK, there are three types of pilot's license. Private pilot license, PPL. This license allows you to fly light aircraft privately, not for commercial purposes. The cost typically ranges from £8,000 to £15,000. This includes flight training hours, ground school, exams, and other associated costs. Light Aircraft Pilot License, LAPL. A more restricted form of the PPL, the LAPL is limited to flying small aircraft within Europe. The cost is generally lower than a PPL, around £6,000 to £10,000. National Private Pilot License, NPPL. This is a UK-specific license for flying UK-registered light aircraft. It's a more affordable and less medically stringent alternative to the ESA PPL, costing approximately £5,000 to £7,000. Costs for other types of aircraft like microlights or helicopters, for example, will vary proportionally according to aircraft type. Let's review the real costs involved in learning to fly, as well as the lessons themselves you will need to add several other smaller sums. 1. Flying lessons, CAA minimums plus contingency. 2. Student pilot kit, books, maps, navigational computer, etc. 3. Headset. The school may lend them, but for several reasons it's best to have your own. 4. Travel to and from the flight training club or school. 5. Other training aids, for example, books, apps, and software. Ground school exam fees. License application fee. Minimum hours and actual hours logged. If you visit the CAA's website and read the requirements for a PPLA, you will see that you need a minimum of 45 hours of training. This should include a minimum of 25 hours of dual instruction and 10 hours of solo flight. I'll leave it to the CA or your flying instructor to explain the finer details. The key word here, though, is minimum. Some people do manage to complete all the requirements at or close to that figure. Will you be able to do so? You will need to factor in a contingency into your budget for extra hours above the minimum requirements. Continuity of training. You will save yourself a lot of money if your budget is organized and available at the start of your training. If you run out of money, the continuity is broken, and when you return to training, you'll have to revise and repeat previous exercises. So plan your finances in such a way that you won't run out of money at a critical stage. Trust me, there's nothing more frustrating. As you empty your bank account or reach your credit card limit, you realize that you're about to shelve your logbook just when things are getting interesting. Flying schools are subject to the same economic forces as any other business, so your flying lesson costs may increase over time due to inflation. Choosing the right flight training school. Flight training costs vary around the UK. You'll pay more per hour at a club with a shiny fleet of new aircraft and an immaculate clubhouse with all the facilities than you will at a small grass strip with a porta-cabin as an office. So, what things should you consider when choosing a flight school? 1. Proximity. How long will it take you to get there? Runways. If it's a grass airfield, will it be out of use in very wet weather? Facilities. Do the buildings look well maintained? Fleet. How many aircraft are there and how old are they? 5. Instructors. Talk to a few and ask to be shown around. 6. Reputation. Google the school name and read what others are saying about it. The school that is closest to you might not be the ideal choice. On the other hand, you don't want to travel for an hour more to reach your flight school at short. Notice if a weather window opens. Learning to fly abroad. The attractive prospect of learning to fly wherever there are near constant blue skies and uncluttered airspace lures some to book flight training holidays in Florida, South Africa, Australia, or perhaps just across the Channel. The attractions are obvious, and the additional cost of flights, accommodation, and subsistence may seem a price worth paying, particularly if the hourly rate is favorable. However, there is another cost that is sometimes overlooked. If you cover most of the syllabus in areas where the weather is often predictably pleasant and the airspace is wide open and free of restrictions, how will you cope when you return to the UK? Will you have the necessary skills and, just as importantly, confidence to make a decision when the weather is borderline? Will your navigation skills keep you out of controlled airspace and danger areas? Some students who return from flight training trips find themselves asking for additional training with a UK flying instructor in order to bring their skills up to the standard required in Britain's comparatively congested airspace. Perhaps your flying holiday would be better spent hour building after you've obtained. On the other hand, learning to fly in a quiet airstrip in predictable weather might give you the time to learn how to fly the aircraft well and without other distractions. Changing instructors. You're going to be spending thousands of pounds, so it's worth remembering that you are the customer. You may be in awe of the instructors, and in particular the CFI, Chief Flying Instructor, but they depend on students like you for their livelihood. If you have any complaints or concerns, don't let them fester. If you feel it's appropriate, go and see the CFI and ask for a quiet chat. Assuming he or she is professionally minded, then you will be met with an open mind. For example, you may find that you don't get along with your instructor. This is unusual, but it does happen. We're all different personality types, and just occasionally we don't get on with the person sitting next to us for hours on end. So remembering that it's your money you're spending, go and address this with the CFI, and he or she should offer an alternative. This is likely to save you money because you will learn faster with an instructor who is on your wavelength. Conclusion and a warning. Like any other commercial establishment running on tight margins and reliant upon a strong economy, flight schools can go out of business if mismanaged or if they run out of students. For this reason, it's never a good idea to hand over large amounts of cash up front. If they tempt you with a discount for a large deposit, then perhaps a few £100s might be worth the risk, but I would suggest not handing over 1,000 or more. Perhaps things have improved greatly since I was a student pilot, so feel free to ignore all my advice. Just remember that you want to go from 0 hours to pilot in command, so managing the finances is your first lesson in being in control. I hope this video has given you some useful tips. You can read more about flying and aviation on the blog benlovegrove.com. Please share this video with others who might be interested and leave comments, feedback, or requests for more videos like this. Wishing you blue skies and calm winds.